From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonder's WOW Report. Things that make us go wow.
Start again. Do it properly this time. Thank you, Tom.
Welcome to the WOW Report. I'm Tom Campbell, Chief Creative Officer at World of Wonder. I am your host today because our fearless leader, Fenton Billy's on vacation. But fear not, we have an amazing posse, including the man who's here every week, whether we want him here or not. Club Kid turned best-selling author, James St. James. I'm just kidding, James, because I love you. This is how we love in my family. Hello, James.
Hello, Tom.
Oh, we started off on a great foot. Let's see how I consult our extra special guest this week. He is celebrating his 10th anniversary as a contributor to the WOW Report. He might have a fancier title, but you know him and you love him by the name Trey Speegle. Hello, Trey.
Hello, Tom. It's great to join both of you. I'm sorry I'm missing Fenton. And you know, my 10th anniversary, but how long have you been at the WOW Report, Tom?
I've been doing I've been at World of Wonder for going on 17 years.
I was talking about the podcast, but I was also wondering about...
The podcast has been on for 27 years.
No, you've been at WOW 17 years.
Yes.
And
James?
And James, you've been there.
Well, I've been continuously for 15 years, but I was there for 2 years before that when I got fired in 2005, and then I came back again in 2007. So I've been there 17 years, but continuously for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure it's another story, but did they know when you came back, or did you just show up again? Because it sounds like World of Wonder.
Basically, I just showed up again.
That's right. Well, enough about us. There's big stuff happening in the world, and we want to talk about it. Each week, we count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow.
Wow.
Wow. And this week, we are starting at number 10.
Number 10.
My good mood has just changed. Okay, Trey, you may know from listening, there's two things I watch on television, two channels. I pay $200 a month in cable. There's two channels I watch, QVC and Turner Classic Movie. And Turner Classic Movie fills my soul. QVC keeps me company. Turner Classic Movie fuels my soul. I'm watching movies. I'm Googling. James and I talk about them. It's just such it's like a graduate program in pop culture. And David Zaslav, the guy who's taking all the blame and making all the cuts at Warner Brothers Discovery. He's the guy that put Chris Licht at CNN. He's the one that canceled the Batgirl movie. I feel bad for him because he's having to sort of resize.
Why would you feel bad for this maniac? This maniac who is destroying the entertainment industry. Do not feel sorry. That's what he wants you to do.
Maybe I think he's like an old Betty Davis movie. No, but he has said in the past, and I'm not defending him, I'm giving the background. He said as recently as April, when there's a Turner Classic Movie, they have their annual get together festival, and he actually was there with Steven Spielberg, and he was like, I am here because I'm a fan and I'm going to preserve it. Well, his words say one thing, his actions do another, and this week he gutted the senior management, which is not large at Turner Classic Movies, and it portends to the end of Turner Classic Movies as we know it, which I'm told is profitable. The problem with America is when something is marginally profitable, no one cares. They want juggernaut growth. They want all these fake statistics to measure, Wall Street crap. When in fact, Turner Classic Movies is like a little mom and pop store that should continue to be in business. You guys.
Now I noticed about 3 months ago, TCM gutted their underground night on Friday.
They booted. That was one of the first fires. Yes.
That was one of the first things to go. And I thought then there's problems afoot at Turner Classic Movies. If they, that was a great night that brought in young people to the network.
A new generation.
Now, the thing is, and we have talked about this ad infinitum, ad nauseum on this show about David Zaslav and how I am convinced that John Barron, Chris Licht, David Zaslav, they are all Putin backed, they are China backed. There is something that we don't know because they are these mega rich people are trying to destroy the entertainment industry from the inside out. And Tom, you always disagree with me, and you say the bottom line here is that it's about money. It's always about the money. And I say no, there is something else going on. This man is a maniac. He's destroyed HBO. He's destroyed Discovery. He's destroyed the DC universe. He's destroyed Turner Classic Movies now. I mean, he is on a rampage, and why is nobody reining this man in? Why is nobody saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Please.
Well, they must be saying it in the hallway, certainly. Licht was not loved at CNN.
But he was put there by both
yes,
John
but he
Barron
was also
and
got rid of by him as well. And
but that was only after there was the huge outcry. If the Trump town hall meeting hadn't happened, Glick would still be there. Probably, there was no doubt in my mind about that.
I mean, it's funny when you look at TCM though, because people who know their CNN history, when cable first began, TCM is Turner Classic Movies, Ted Turner, Jane Fonda's ex-husband. It goes all the way back to that, and it's had an incredible history of hosts and celebrities coming on.
It is beloved in the industry.
Yes, totally beloved, and it is the revival movie house of cable TV. It's how people learn.
Steven Spielberg and Paul Thomas Anderson had an emergency meeting with Zaslav yesterday. And they left feeling, according to things I've read, assuaged or calm that David's not, and maybe they work for China. Now, James, I have learned over the 9,000 years we've done the show to not question you anymore. Just to take it, I believe you now. But I do think, you know how the music industry was gutted by digital? It's like television is being gutted. It used to be, you make a show, you sell it to a network, then you sell it to a foreign market, then you sell it to syndication. There were all these streams of revenue. And now it's like they spent billions of dollars making revenue that has no second life, presumably. And it's just falling apart.
But also, TCM must cost $5 to produce.
Exactly.
I own all the movies.
Listen, there was a huge article that I just read today in Apple News, I think it was, and they were saying that this is the theory that's being floated right now, is that because the Flash bombed so horribly and took down with it the entire DC universe, that Turner Classic Movie is paying the price for the Flash's bomb.
Listen, we're running out of time. We have many more things to count down, and we will keep S.O.S. TCM. We will keep on watch. We will break into your feed. We will do whatever we can to keep it alive. All right, let's move on to number 9.
Number 9, I watched a few comedy specials over the weekend, and I wanted to talk about them just for a second. I watched the Amy Schumer special on, Netflix. And Amy Schumer is somebody that I like. I think she's funny, but she's not a funny comedian. Her shows, there's no jokes that she tells. She just sort of rambles a bit. I don't quite understand why she gets the big bucks. I watched the Sarah Silverman on HBO, and Sarah is another one who is funny, but she's just vulgar for vulgar's sake. I walked away from that feeling sort of filthy. But the big one, the takeaway here. The takeaway here is Matt Rife, and I don't know if you guys know who Matt Rife is.
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Matt Rife is the hottest thing in comedy right now. He is gorgeous. He's got these big cocksucker lips. He's got these anime eyes. He's got fabulous hair. He's got a body down, and he knows it. His whole comedy shtick, he had one in 2020 called OnlyFans, and he calls it OnlyFans, the comedy special, because he knows that he'll get gay people to come on to watch the show if it's called OnlyFans. And his whole comedy is, it's hard to be hot because nobody takes you seriously. Hot people aren't funny, and it gets a little old, but he's really good when he does audience interaction.
Yes, his crowd work is
unmatched. Okay, and just Google MILF with squeaky tits. Google that, and you'll know what I'm talking about. And Shamar Moore, when Shamar Moore gets on from NCIS or CSI or whatever, he gets on stage and he's drunk and he's coming on to Matt Rife and he's suggesting a threesome with his wife, and it is jaw-dropping when you watch it. It is just crazy. Now, I tell you to start watching Matt Rife right now because he is at the tipping point. He is on the cusp. He has a sold out world tour going on right now, and he's about to break huge. He's going to be scooped up. He's going to have a movie. He's going to have a TV show any second now. Watch for Matt Rife. He's gorgeous. He's funny. He's the entire package. Yes.
And do you remember what service you saw him on?
You can just go to Freevee, I think, and watch Matt Rife OnlyFans.
Is he not in your feed? He is in my Facebook feed.
Yeah,
constantly.
I don't know, Tom, what you're doing wrong because just start following Matt Rife on Instagram.
He's not in your Facebook feed, Tom, because
Does he wear tiny little underwear and always shows off his ass on hump day? That's my feed right now. That's just my feed.
Tom, I want you just to stop what you're doing and Instagram Matt Rife, Matt, and just follow him Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, and you will.
He dated some celebrity. I forget her name.
I think wasn't he with Zendaya or something?
No, it was. Oh
my God,
the most beautiful women in the world. Anyway, you'll see.
People tell me they listen to the show because I learn new stuff. I'm so glad I came today because I learned something new. I can't wait. By the way, James, I took your advice while you were talking. I Googled MILF with squeaky tits, and you don't want to know what came up.
That is not a good search mode.
That is Matt Rife MILF with squeaky. You got to put the Matt Rife in there, otherwise you're gonna have a problem.
How do you spell Rife for us?
R-I-F-E, Matt Rife.
Okay. All right.
And he was with Kate Beckinsale.
That's it. Kate
Oh, there you go.
Good for her. Good for her. All right. Well, James, thank you for that scoop, for that little burst of comedy. Trey, you're next at number 8.
Number 8.
I might have something that you hadn't heard of. This also might be news. Have you heard of seethequeens.com?
Oh, no. I have, because you've been talking about it. What is it? Tell me.
So this New York State real estate agent, Scott Adam, he, during COVID, he was at home and kind of depressed. And I had a conversation with him yesterday, and even slightly suicidal. And he decided to go see a drag show. And he said to me, the first people out, with the nurses were the drag queens. They had the masks on, they were doing shows. And he said, I couldn't figure out what was where or who was performing. And so I went online to try to figure it out. And there was no kind of central location, at least in New York City, to find out. And he said on any given night, there are as many drag shows as there are more than there are Broadway shows. So he created seethequeens.com. He said based on kind of RuPaul's Drag Race Meet the Queens, because he was like, well, I met the queens. Now I want to see the queens. How do I see the queens? So it's in beta right now if you go to it. And it breaks it down by your neighborhood, by the kind of comedy show, a drag show. They have drag kings.
Is it just New York, or is it everywhere?
Right now it's just New York City. And he messaged me yesterday, and I caught him at the airport. He was stranded in Dallas Fort Worth. So we had a short conversation, and I didn't get a chance to ask him, but my feeling is once people see this, it's going to have legs and it will be everywhere.
It sounds like a no-brainer. It sounds like every city in the world needs their queen. Yeah,
and
definitely.
also
if you go traveling, you're going to want to know who's playing in what the city you go to.
Well, this is the thing too, because you think like, oh, well, small towns could use that, and you think, no, really, the small towns you're going to know where the bar is. It's the big towns that you don't know where they are because there's so much going on. So it's in beta right now, but I can't imagine that this isn't going to just get more funding.
I hate that this crossed my mind, but I'm going to share it. But I hope the Proud Boys don't subscribe to this app. You know what I mean? Like right wingers will know where to go to start.
It's in New York City, so good luck with that.
I know. I only brought it up because I know no Proud Boys listen to Radio Andy, so we're okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
you're on their top 10 list. But speaking of New York City drag shows, our old pal Lady Bunny is doing one last performance of her show, which is called "Don't Bring the Kids." And it's at the Green Room 42 on June 26th. And you can see more about it on the WOW Report, along with a short clip of her new song parody, Groomer has it. He's leaning into the conservative.
She never fails to. Her shows are amazing. She's so unapologetic, so rude, so cutting. But I do love her the titles of her shows, and that Rumor Has It. Come on,
Rumor has it. That is the funniest thing I've heard in years.
Rumor Has It.
You know the tune.
Yeah.
Trey, tell us a little bit about Nora Byrne's recent The Village.
Oh, The Village. That have you heard of this, you guys? It's called The Village, a Disco Daydream. Nora Byrne's from Unitard, an old friend of World of Wonder. She did this. She wrote the show, which is kind of loosely based on Our Town, and they performed it in January, February. And then it was such a hit, Dixon Place brought it back. So they had this sort of reopening of it. And I posted a bit about it on the WOW Report, but sort of everybody showed up that opening night. Mark Jacobs came into the lobby and I was like, oh, you're here again. Because he saw it the first time and he was sort of shocked. Like, yeah, I'm back. Joey Arias came, Stella.
Diane Brill.
No Diane Brill, but
I saw Diane Brill there. She was there.
Well, she didn't come the night that I was there. She probably did come as well. Love Connie hosted the night. But you know who showed up was Carmen DeLessio, the original PR agent for Studio 54.
Wait, hold on. Stop everything. Trey, do you have contact information? I want to get around the podcast. Is there a way to contact her? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm sure. I think so because Nora sent the post that I did to Carmen. So I think we can get you to her. At one point, we were all eating pizza served to us by Nora after the show. And Carmen was sitting close to me. And I leaned over and said, does that get the disco seal of approval? And she said, absolutely. I loved it. I was like, there's the soundbite.
You know when sitcoms jump the shark? You know that thing where they go over the top and they can't come back?
Are you saying that we just jumped the shark right there with this conversation?
I'm saying
Tom is on fire today.
When you decided to use this show as just a means to book your other show, that's when you jump the shark, James St. James. You're like, wait a minute, hold everything.
You are out of control. You are the David Zaslav of World of Wonder. Can I just say that you are the David Zaslav of World of Wonder? You are out. You're a maniac. You're an evil
I'm
maniac.
Destroying the WOW Report from inside out.
I never see this much vitriol. Is it my presence? Is it Fenton's lack of being here?
It's because Fenton isn't here to keep the guardrails
He
on.
usually keeps the lid on.
Blake will edit this all out, and we'll have he'll just take syllables and turn it into a whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
That's what's great.
Okay.
You think Blake edits this show?
We're not making it easy for him.
I don't know where you are.
Well, he says he's busy all day editing, so I don't know what he's been doing.
Editing.
Well, this is great. We are in the midst of counting down the top 10 things that make us go wow. We can take a little break. Anything you want to plug, Blake? Anything we need to tell people about?
Yes, this week was the first episode of Drag Race Mexico. You can watch it on WOW Presents Plus, excluding Mexico, wherever you watch it on Paramount Plus. And then this Sunday will be the season premiere of Drag Race España. So we have plenty of Spanish-speaking drag queen content for you.
I'm loving it. You guys know
are you in your new penthouse apartment? What is going on? Where are you?
I am. Isn't it lovely?
It is. Where are you? Seriously, where are you living now?
I'm down the street from my house after, someone drove through my house. And so, yeah.
It was Pete Davidson is who it was.
It was Zaslav.
Wait, so this is a house that you're living in, or is it because you were in a hotel for a while?
Yeah, I was in a hotel, but then when they started construction, my roommate needed to get out of his room too, so we're in a rental house for a few months.
It looks cute. It looks adorable.
Yeah, it's more space, so that's good.
All right, so we will continue counting down the top 10 things that make us wow. Right after this, you listen to the WOW Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders WOW Report. Things that that make us go wow.
Hello, we are back. This is the WOW Report with Tom Campbell, James St. James, and Trey Speegle, our extra special guest, celebrating his 10th anniversary as a contributor to the WOW Report. But he has, so many things. Now, Trey, you are in upstate New York now, but you also have a home in Mexico, right?
I do. Blake was just talking about Drag Race Mexico. One of the queens on the show I noted is from Cancun, which is in the Yucatan, which is where my house is. So I was very excited to watch the Meet the Queens and to see all of the Spanish speaking. I've been, of course, studying Spanish for a couple of years, and it's very bad. But there's something really different about Latin American drag race queens, and I don't quite know what it is yet. But I'm telling you, the looks are going for something very related to Mexico. Like, Drag Race Belgium, I don't know if there's a look for that. There's certainly, the queens are very specific to that part of the country, but
well, the thing that we've learned with all the different Drag Race variations is that every single area, every single place has its own very specific kind of drag, its own specific drag humor
and
the
queerness.
look.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see just around the world how everyone takes their own version of it.
But I think there's kind of a Latin queerness that kind of
I think so, definitely. Yes.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep up with all of the foreign versions just to watch them all, but I'm very interested to watch Mexico. And I think, Trey, in a year from now, you're going to say, I learned how to speak Spanish fluently by watching RuPaul's Drag Race Mexico.
I'm going to be watching it, putting the translation. I'm going to listen to it in Spanish and watch it. And,
Of course, Pussy on Fire will be the major thing he learns in Spanish. All right. We are counting down the top 10 things that made us go wow. We're going to continue now with number 7.
Number 7.
I don't know, Trey, if you're watching. James and I are kind of hate watching, but The Idol on HBO, a limited series, and it may be more limited than we think. I'm fascinated by it because it's this Sunday. I've left, I still have my HBO Sunday vibe, and so I'm kind of, at home, and I click it on, and I watch it, and I got to say, Rose Depp is beautiful and fascinating, and the weekend is despicable, and the people no one's likable, and they're all. And this week they were having sex in the back of a suicide door 62 Lincoln convertible, and having sex at Valentino, and it ended with a hairbrush that the mother used to beat. It was revealed that this pop star, this nouveau Britney Spears, was beaten by her mother with a brush, and on some level she kind of misses it. And The Weeknd, who's kind of like a Charles Manson-y kind of figure, ends up not getting rid of the brush but using it to bring her pain. And people freak out about this, and I get that it's unsavory, and maybe you don't want to watch it because it's savory, but I believe that this kind of crap happens. Everyone says, oh, this dials one back to the 90s. It's like, I think this kind of Svengali pop star lost and listens to the person who's the most charismatic. I think it's kind of real.
There's no doubt about it that this is a Hollywood story that is now, and it does happen. And I do have a feeling that we know that The Weeknd wrote it and produced it and stars in it, and we are learning more about what The Weeknd is really like. I think he's exposing more of himself than he probably should have. I believe you hear the stories of his narcissistic behavior, his tantrums on the set, and it really feels like that this is The Weeknd, and it's just I find him repulsive, frankly. And the problem with the show to me is that I'm not invested enough in the Lily Rose Depp character. I don't find the character likable enough. I don't think there's nobody to root for in this show. Nobody has any rooting value to me.
You know what I root for? Lily's underboob. So much underboob. Am I right?
You don't need to see your underboob, Tom.
I just wanted to, share.
But I do think that Jane Addams, I love watching Jane Addams. Troye Sivan is going to walk away from this. He's going to be fine. There's the Davine Joy Randolph, who plays the big girl. I love her so much. I think some people are going to walk away from this being fine. Other people, it's going to take them down. I don't think the Weeknd has a career after this. I really think this is going to destroy him. But I don't hate Troye Sivan for being in this. I'm
Right.
he's fine. Harry Neff, I think, is going to walk away fine.
Yeah.
Hank Azaria, I don't know. I think Hank Azaria just has something in his contract. I get to do goofy accents because what the hell is he doing? What the hell is that? It's just
But
it
the
takes you
best
right
moment-
out of the story.
The best moment is the assistant who's her friend calls the manager. What's his face? The one you just said.
Hank
and-
Azaria.
Thank you. And she calls them because she goes, they're going crazy. Oh no, you got to do something. Help. And so they end up meeting at the house. They go in, they meet with the Weeknd and her, and they play like, hey, we love you, Weeknd. They're like, so fun. Oh, you're so great. And your album's great. And they butter up, and they even walk by the assistant and they say, he's great. We love him. And then they get in the car and they're kind of like, we need to kill this guy. He's trouble. And it's like, that's so management. I'm sorry. I used to work in management. And it's so people, I was reading on, because I read afterwards on the blogs, and the kids are like, it doesn't make any sense. They wouldn't let the assistant into it. It's like, yeah, they don't want the assistant to go back and be negative in front of Lily, because they have to keep that relationship. They have to keep that client happy. So they're doing things separately. And there is a line in the This Week On, which I will be watching, that says, what if we just take this guy out? And maybe it's a joke line, or maybe it's not. The Idol on HBO, Sundays all night long. If you plays. I'm gonna keep watching. I'll see if James does. Trey, did you ever watch any of this?
I didn't. I posted on the WOW Report about my headline was the stinky reviews from critics for Max's The Idol are in, but do audiences love it? Because all the critics were like saying, the music's not even good. It's more regressive than transgressive, exploitation, sleazy.
Here's the best meme. There, that Saturday Night Live sketch, then we'll move on, where there's like the Lennon sisters, like, I'm Barbara.
Oh, yeah, oh my God, yeah.
I'm Sally. I'm Judy. they put in front of like, I'm Barbara. It says Succession. I'm Judy. It says The Last of Us. I'm Lala. And it says White Lotus. And then like, I'm Judy. And it's the Idol. So that was, I thank you for letting me recreate on the radio a meme. The Idol, love it, hate it. Tell us what you think about it. We are moving on our countdown to number 6, James.
Number 6.
Screw Padam. I want to talk about the real songs of the summer. I'm just going to say it. It's the pharmaceutical drug commercials that you see every time you turn on television. I'm going to sing a few of them right now, and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Ozempic, Okay, that's number 1.
I have to go.
Number 2 is Down with Rebel Sis. Wait, did he really leave?
No, I got water.
Oh, Down with Rebel Sis. And then the other one is Birds Flying High, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. That's the trilogy. And then let me see. There's another one.
Rizzy.
Oh yeah. Nothing is everything.
And they have it in they have disco version, country version, just depending on where in the country you are.
Are you going to have to pay royalties on this now? Because you're
no. We're just going to play these commercials. Between this. But listen, the song of the summer, the number one, the most important one of all, is the Jardiance. And I'm just going to sing a little bit of this. I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. A little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance, and each day stars. As time went on, it was easy to see. I'm lowering my A1C. Now, when I tell you that this woman sings, she dances, she changes outfits, she gets her hair done. There's a postman who comes by and starts singing with her. She is the Judy Garland of our era. She is Ann Miller. She is bleeding she is giving it her all. fuck Wicked. I want to see a Broadway to movie version of this Jardiance commercial, because every time I watch it, my jaw drops at how this woman is such a star. I'm banging right now. Do you know the commercial I'm talking about, right?
I missed it. I avoid commercials.
I do, James. I saw it and I'm with you. There's only one thing. It's not a pharmaceutical, but there's a Latin flavored song that plays during Kelly and Mark that's about California cheese. I'll have to send you a link.
So really, True Padam is the California cheese commercial that is rising up the charts.
En Espanol.
Well, James, do you know the woman's name? Who's the Judy Garland?
No, but she's going to be the biggest. She and Matt Rife are the big stars of 2024 as far as I'm
concerned. She's the new Melissa McCarthy.
There you go.
Melissa McCarthy is who she is.
I hope she's making a lot of money and buying a house for her parents or something.
Well, I have seen some people, like I think David Ilku was online saying, I know what I got for my little commercial 10 years ago. Or whatever. This woman is raking in the money. It is on 10 times an hour on every single show.
She's not Flo from Progressive Rich, but she might be someday. All right, let's move on our countdown to number 5. Trey.
Number 5.
Do you know the Trevor Project, right?
Yes.
You've heard of the Trevor Project. So that was originally a one-person show by my friend Celeste Lacine. It was on Broadway, and then it was made into a documentary.
Wait. The Trevor Project,
it was called Trevor. The show was called Trevor.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Trevor Project.
Keep going. I am. I'm getting to that. I'm leading into the Trevor Project. So the Trevor was a one-person show. It was on Broadway, and then there was a film made of it, and it won an Oscar. And when they were showing it on HBO, they wanted to put an 800 number. Actually, Ellen came on to announce this, and they thought, well, we need to have an 800 number so people can find out more about this, because in Trevor tries to kill himself in this little short film. So that's how the Trevor Project was born and became this sort of big organization.
Did not know that.
Yeah, Peggy Rasky started it with Celeste Lacine, and Celeste Lacine is now heading up this new thing called the Future Perfect Project. And I will read what the Future Perfect Project is. It's the self-expression of LGBTQIA plus youth as a declaration of a better future for us all. We produce and facilitate creative workshops, media projects, and performance opportunities for LGBTQIA plus youth and allies ages 13 to 22. They have their own album on Spotify. They created an animated series. It's all across the country. You can go to the futureperfectproject.com and you can find out more about it. But it's an incredible opportunity because once again, it's for youth. And instead of about a dire situation of suicidal thoughts, it's catering to creative queer youth and encouraging all sorts of other people to get involved by doing workshops, by helping them with animation. And I'm actually seeing Celeste this weekend because her play, The Absolute Brightness of Leonard Pelkey, is at the Forestburg Playhouse. And that is a story, once again, about LGBT youth. And it is, one person plays every character as they unravel the story of Leonard Pelkey, a tenacious, optimistic 14-year-old boy who goes missing, a force of nature whose magic is only truly felt once he is gone. And the sort of whole town gets involved in this. So this is, Celeste isn't doing the play, another actor is doing it, but they're coming up and doing a Q&A afterwards. So I was inspired I've written about this before on the WOW Report, and you can see today on the WOW Report more about it and click on the links to find out about it.
So one more time, the name of the organization is?
The futureperfectproject.com.
And the name of the one-person play is?
It's called The Absolute Brightness of Leonard Pelkey, and it's at the Forestburg Playhouse, which you can Google search which is in the Catskill Mountains in upstate New York.
That's awesome.
Nice. Okay.
Trey, thank God we just talk about, you know, cannibalism usually, and you know, just dumb stuff. But you're thank you.
This it's a great organization. I love the Trevor Project, and I'm going to get involved with the Future Perfect too to do some art stuff.
The Trevor Project is a gold standard for charities.
It really is great.
Okay, I see Blake. That means we have to go to a break. Anything you want to say, Blake?
There is something I want to say. I want people to go to Barnes & Noble at the Grove next Tuesday for a special conversation with Bianca Del Rio and our fearless leader, Fenton Bailey, about his book, Screen Age, available everywhere. It's Tuesday, June 27th at 7 p.m.
Now, James and I have talked about the book with Fenton for like, I don't know, a year and a half or something. So please, you go to Barnes & Noble. You see Bianca Del Rio, have to talk to Fenton about his book. It's actually fascinating. Fenton was just in Provincetown, and Carson Kressley questioned him, and John Waters in the office. It looked like a ball. So they're becoming real happenings. So definitely go down and see Fenton at the Barnes & Noble.
Little bonus, they also have House of Love cocktails and mocktails there. So
there you go.
This is the Grove in Los Angeles, just so everyone knows. Yeah.
And I hope someone tapes that, because that's going to be a fun conversation. I mean, Bianca and Fenton. I mean, that'll be great.
Well, Jake wasn't editing the WOW report the whole time. He could go down and film it, but he's, editing. Busy. Okay. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we will continue counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow, this week on the WOW report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders WOW report. Things that make us go wow.
We're back. It's the WOW report. I'm Tom Campbell here with James St. James and our extra special guest star, Trey Speegle. Hey, Trey.
Hello.
Fenton is on vacation. He'll be back. Fear not. We count down the top 10 things that make us go wow, and the countdown continues with number 4.
Number 4.
Guys, I don't think you even know this. This is like breaking news for Friday when this will air, and it's not good news. And I don't want to be self-absorbed, but I don't know if you guys saw, we're in the middle of the second season of Queen of the Universe on Paramount Plus. We did a first season. It's this first season was well received. The second season has been amazing.
I'm watching.
And this is the one with Trixie and Michelle and
Vanessa Williams, Mel B, Trixie Mattel, and Michelle Visage are a pop diva panel. Graham Norton is the host, and it's the first all singing, all drag competition that's truly out of this world. Queen of the Universe.
Incredible.
And it has the themes have been incredible. It's been heartbreaking. It's one of the first times we've seen drag from all over the world in one place and what they all deal with. It's so inspiring. The production values are so great. The songs are so amazing. And if you want to see it, you need to hurry, because they decided mid-season to drop all of the episodes, including the winning episode, which is okay because it'll be there. But I believe through the world we live in and the finances that exist, that it won't be on the service for very long. So if you want to see the universe on Paramount
Plus, did David Zaslav do this?
In a sense, yes. The good news for people outside the United States, around the world, which is a lot of people, is Queen of the Universe will live on WOW Presents Plus.
Great.
Now,
great.
And I'll just say, I'm trying to be, I love the people we work with. I don't think anyone wanted this to happen on a personal level. It's heartbreaking.
Such a great show. I mean, the production values, when you see these numbers and the production values and the talent of these queens, and I mean, this top level judge, I mean, it's completely American Idol level, performance, judging, audience.
Well, but Tom, do you have a conspiracy theory as to why is it a drag backlash thing that is affecting TV shows about drag queens, or is that simplifying it?
I don't know for sure. Drag Race does really well on MTV. All Stars has done really well on Paramount Plus, but the metrics for what needs to stay. You know, sometimes all these places, like I said before, they've all overspent. That was the model, and up until a couple of years ago, just spend, show growth. They were treated like a tech company versus an entertainment company. And now the day of reckoning with David Zaslav and everyone's having to deal with is, oh my God, we overspent. We're not making a profit. We're not meeting quarterly, you know, stock, blah, blah, blah. So they have to find ways to save. So I am assuming that by taking the show off the air, they can take it as a write-off somehow. And that's more important than the number of people who are watching.
Well, that's like the Batgirl thing where they had it was $100 million write-off. Yeah.
Right. And this is the scary thing to me, and I've said this for a long time, you know, the algorithm is homophobic, and that's overstating it. But you look at Drag Race, which is this international phenomenon, right? It's changed the world in many ways. It's brought the art of drag to the mainstream and brought a lot of understanding and entertainment and relatability to queer people and also people who aren't queer. And that show, I always say to this day, is like a tree that grew through a crack in the sidewalk. It shouldn't have been made. If Drag Race premiered today, it probably wouldn't get huge ratings in its first season. You know, but there used to be little networks that had little hits, and they grew, and there were places for them to, you know, grow and nurture and et cetera. So that is kind of the problem. We talked last week how everything might crush down to like 3 or 4 big streamers, in which case everything has to be a massive hit. Where, you know, usually when things get really centralized or whatever, then there's ways that independent voices get to be heard, but it's harder than ever. So anyway, I just want to say, you know, thank you, Paramount Plus, for giving us the opportunity to produce 2 seasons of Queen of the Universe. I'm glad it exists in the world. It's content that won't go away, and it will be watching on Paramount Plus this weekend. I think it goes away at the end of the month, and then look for it if you're listening to us from anywhere other than the United States. It will be on World of Wonder, WOW Presents Plus, our streaming service. I should know the name of it. So that's the Queen of the Universe news. Let's move on. Let's perk things up with number 3.
Number 3.
Well, no, not perk things up. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Titan tragedy that happened this week. That just sort of everyone in the world has been glued to their television. There have been a lot of takes on it that online on Twitter that are not very kind to the billionaires who have gone down. And I don't really need to get into any of that, but I do just want to say that, you know, the big takeaway has been the fact that it was sort of MacGyvered together in a way that probably made something like this inevitable. Very quickly, there's the PlayStation joystick was the way that it was navigated. You know, there was no GPS system on board. There was no navigation system. It was guided by text messages from the surface. There was a limited air supply, no inflatable flotation device to help get it to the surface. If it was, there was no way to get out. If it got to the surface, it was, you know, open from the outside in. Yeah, you were screwed in. There was no way to get fresh air if they got to the surface. And not to mention that if you're rising to the surface that fast, you're going to get the bends. There's no way to get them from 12,000 feet to the surface without getting into a hyperbaric chamber or something like that. I mean, you would probably die going up that fast. So, you know, Joy Behar got into a lot of trouble.
I think they said today, James, that or yesterday, that they found a debris field.
They found a debris field, yeah, which is probably it probably collapsed at that depth. And they said that even if that they would be in darkness, it would have been sub-zero temperatures. It probably would have been spinning. They would have been tumbled around inside. It's really gruesome. Joy Behar got into a lot of trouble on The View because she said, and I quote, it's interesting because the Titanic itself went down because of human incompetence, stupidity, and hubris. And it's sort of the same thing is happening here. The irony is that we're seeing the same thing happen to the Titanic with, billionaires, rich people going on, rich people folly is basically what both the Titanic and the Titan is. And she got in trouble for it. And I'm not saying that she's right or wrong, but there is something to be said for the fact that it just...
I think it's I get why people are fascinated by weird things. I do think people, there was a thing on the NPR about people who climb, Mount Everest, or there are people who rescue people, and sometimes they rescue the same people several times. for not being prepared, for not being trained for hikes and things.
Well,
so
if I could add something, I was noticing all of these very cruel memes and a lot of terrible comments. And so I posted something and I said, lots of posts basically saying, because he's rich, it's okay to make jokes about dying at the bottom of the ocean. Really? And I had a lot of response from people saying kind of, yeah, that's terrible. And plenty of people kept bringing up money. And, you know,
but hold on. But the idea there is that we are in a time right now where there's billionaires are being revealed as being idiots. Musk is an idiot. You know, all these people are you know, they're MAGA people. They are on the wrong side of history. They are not likable people. And the fact that we are giving billionaires all this, you know, we're giving them all the power, and we're giving them all.
That is a given. My point really
the fact
was
is that billionaires right now are not likable people, and when something bad happens to a billionaire, it's not up to us.
Yeah, that's true. Like you crash your Toyota. Oh, it's terrible. You crash your Bentley. Oh, you know, you're an idiot. I was just saying, is it okay to make fun of someone's death just because they're rich? This person.
I said this once. I said it once in the show, and I'll say it again. I hope the moment I'm dead, everybody makes rude jokes. Like, people are so fucking precious.
We will, Tom.
You know, tragic. If you're in the family, okay, if whatever. But like, I don't know, have to mourn the death of millionaires who signed off and took this adventure. Everything has a risk. When I leave the house in the morning, it's a risk. When I drive on the freeway, it's a risk.
Absolutely.
It's like, they're not victims.
The fact, like I said, the fact is we are learning more and more that all of these billionaires, the barons and the, you know, Trump, with the fact that we let a billionaire become president of the United States just because he's a billionaire reality show host. We let
and how do we feel? We need to move on.
Twitter.
We need to move on. But I do, you know who's paying for all those rescue bills? U.S. taxpayers.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I just think it's weird to make it about money. It just seemed like a horrible tragedy, and people were equating it with refugees dying at sea. And you're like, it's all sad. It's
700 refugees just died, and they aren't getting 1/100th of the attention that 5 billionaires are. Where is the justice there?
I'm just saying.
Why are we obsessed with these billionaires when we should be obsessed with the refugees who are on the sinking ship?
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying I don't think it's you know, very, very nice to make fun of people's deaths
but you've never been on Twitter, because there is nothing nice about Twitter. And if you go on Twitter, you deserve to see whatever you see.
Yeah, you know? I agree. It's a bad neighborhood. Let's move on quickly to number 2.
Number 2.
Well, number 2 is very happy. I will bring the mood up. It is. I'm gonna, you know, celebrate my own 10th anniversary on the WOW Report.
Congratulations, my dear.
Tom has me beat 17 years. James is probably at the same, and you know, Fenton and Randy going on 30 plus. You know,
I did just want to say too that before you go on, that you've been on the WOW Report for 10 years. The WOW Report itself has been around for 20 years. In 2024, it started in 2004 with Steven Sabin. February 2004, so it will be 20 years. So we are part of legend. You are a part of the legend.
I'm honored, and at this point, I sort of lost count at 10,000 posts. I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist. I used to be an art director for magazines, and when I first started writing for the WOW Report, it really it's now allowed me to be a writer, because if I have to write something now, I can do it. I don't hesitate. I found my voice. I'm not a great writer. I need a copy editor. But in terms of pop culture, like the WOW Report has just been great. I know Fenton and Randy, as you guys have known, for a really long time. We were in the East Village. We lived around the corner from each other. I designed the Pop Charts logo that you see now on Money, Success, Fame, Glamour. I did the 20th anniversary book for the WOW Report. And the one thing I will say is I sort of started thinking about what you were saying about Queen of the Universe and Drag Race Mexico, and, you know, the awards, Critics' Choice Awards that All Stars 8 just won, and the the Banff Award that Fenton and Randy just got. I'm proud of all of those things. I'm proud of my friends. Not that I had anything to do with it, but you guys you're part of this sort of legacy. And I will say the LGBTQ community really sort of, owes a debt of gratitude to Fenton and Randy and World of Wonder for, it was started as entertainment, but it really is kind of a cause at this point. So, when you lose something like Queen of the Universe, you sort of feel that. You're like, oh, that was great. It's sad to lose that. We still got plenty of drag races all around the world, but it's global now. And it's bigger than anybody. Then Fenton and Randy recognize that as well. So just to be a small part of it is.
Well, you're a big part. I just the notion that World of Wonder, as you guys know, because they've been making queer content before it was your LGBTQ plus program, before there was LGBTQ plus, and with all of those advancements, things have been 1 season, 2 seasons, didn't have, and that's chipped away at the Rock. So like I said, even the Queen of the Universe being on for 2 seasons is a win. But I'm sorry, James, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that going back to the writing for the WOW Report and how, you are a writer now and like you found your voice and everything like that. I remember my first day writing for the for the WOW Report, and during those days you had to have 9 posts a day. That was the thing you had to do. And I remember driving to work with tears in my eyes saying, how on earth am I going to do 9 freaking posts a day? Like that, it's just the idea just was overwhelming. And then after about 6 months, it was like you don't even think about it. You just go. You've got it. You know it. You know what you're doing. You can do. It's like it's interesting the muscle that it works in your head.
Yeah. And you rely on a lot of other people. I wanted to do a quick shout out to Ruben Natal San Miguel, who's shot a lot for the WOW Report, and this month he is shooting every borough of New York City for Pride. So far, he's done Staten Island, Queens, I'm forgetting Brooklyn, and the Bronx. And coming this weekend is Manhattan. And I also wanted to do a quick shout out to my brother, Tad Speegle, who he sends me a lot of ideas for the WOW Report, which make it on, and I end up researching and stuff. But he definitely, maybe it runs in the Speegle family. He can spot pop culture.
Awesome. Well, we've got to move on. Happy anniversary. Thank you for joining us this week. Where the show's not over, but I just want to take a moment to appreciate you, because it do take a village, people. Thank you very much. We are taking a break. When we come back, we will reveal the number 1 thing this week that made us go, wow.
You're listening to World of Wonders WOW Report. Things that make us go wow.
We are back. It's the WOW Report this week with Tom Campbell, Jane St. James, and Trey Speegle. Fenton Bailey, hurry back. They'll be here next week. We're at number 1. What's the number 1 thing that made us go wow, Trey?
Number 1.
I wanted to just ask you guys what you think the best LGBTQ queer movie is. Your favorite. Maybe not the best. Your favorite.
This is our Pride episode here. We are nearing the end of the Pride month, so let's give it up to the LGBTQ movies that we love more than anything else on the planet. I just want to say very quickly, I can name right off the top of my head, it's My Own Private Idaho, Changed My World, Morris, Changed My World with Rupert Graves, oh my God, young Hugh Grant, Brokeback Mountain. I will argue to the death with Fenton over this one. Fenton hates it. Carol, Kate Blanchett is just one of the best of all times. Boys Don't Cry. But I want to say my number 1 favorite movie of all time is not gay, but it's bisexual. And I want to just give you a moment in time. I went to go see Y Tu Mamá También the weekend that it opened, okay? And it was a packed theater, and nobody really knew what the movie was when we were watching it, okay? No, the reviews hadn't really come out or anything. And there's the moment at the end where Diego Luna and Gail Garcia Bernal are having a threesome with the woman, and they push the woman out of the way, and they go at each other. They start making out with each other, and they start having sex. And the audience leapt to its feet, screaming and shouting, and applauded and cheered in a way that I have never seen in a movie. The applause went on for the entire sex scene. I have chills. Just
You were
thinking
in
about
New York
that
City
moment.
or West Hollywood?
It was in LA. It was down in Santa Monica. And when I say that it was hundreds of people leaping to their feet because nobody was expecting it, and all of a sudden these two hot guys just pushed the woman out of the way and started going in on each other. And it was one of my favorite LGBTQ moments in movie history.
It's incredible. Trey, what's your favorite?
Well, I think all of those are great. All of those are really great. For me, I think for a Hollywood movie, To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar is hard to top with Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes.
Rachel Tension.
Yes, Stockard Channing, Blythe Danner, Leguizamo, RuPaul. Hello, RuPaul makes an appearance as well as Julie Newmar. It kind of has it all. It's a great story still. I think it holds up. I saw it again not that long ago. It's a really good story. It's very heartfelt. And those three do pretty good, believable drag. I mean, it doesn't.
Well, now Patrick Swayze, I
love his drag in that. I love his drag in that.
I will wrap things up with this because this wraps up our whole from 10 to 1, which is last night when I heard Turner Classic Movies was going away. I got home very late. I took off my clothes. I'm down on my underwear, my t-shirt. I get into bed. I turn on Turner Classic Movies, and the Celluloid Closet is playing.
It's so incredible that you're saying that. That was my next thing that I was going to say.
Well, because
I want to see a great movie.
Made in 95 by Rob Epstein, and seeing a young Suzanne Sarandon, people, and Harvey Fierstein, and young Tom Hanks, Whoopi Goldberg, sort of spoon feeding people why our stories are important, and seeing scenes from Philadelphia and scenes from Mrs. Doubtfire, I was weepy to begin with.
Back to like William Haynes, and I mean going back to the very beginning of cinema and the gay presence in cinema. Yeah,
made by Vito Russo. It started out as a book in 1981. Lily Tomlin narrates it.
Yes, it's just full of queerness and queer allies. I just saw it like the last half hour or something this time.
Listeners, if you haven't seen it, listeners, go look up. The Celluloid Closet.
Now because it's from 95, Celluloid Closet. Yes. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but we mentioned a lot of queer movies. So thank you guys. What a pleasure it has been. I know I started cranky, but I'm leaving happy. That's what this is. It's like a good therapy session. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, James. Thank you, Blake, wherever you are. And Fenton, we missed you, and we look forward to seeing you next week right here on the WOW Report on Radio Andy. Until the next time, go out and do something that makes the world go
wow.
Hey.